I'm working on a book right now, and I really have to focus on that. So so what do you do professionally?
Mostly like a software developer, but I've kind of stopped doing that. And this, Calvin's going to say
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Stand Up fifth Sunday. Fifth. Stand Up last Sunday of the month, anyway. Hey, how we doing? Good. Excellent. I'm Aaron. That's Daniel. We're the ones that got you seated. If you need any more food or drink, come find us. Right before Carl goes on, he's the headliner, what we call the last call. So that's your last shot for alcohol. Restrooms down the hall if you need them. You, by being here, are committing to being streamed on our YouTubes. Hi, YouTube. If that bothers you, sorry. But it's raining, so stay. Anyway, let's get on with the show. You know him, you love him, he's your headliner and MC this evening, Carl Wolfson!
Let's hear it for Aaron. Give Aaron a round of applause. Wow. We got a corded mic tonight?
Yeah, what's good?
Wow, welcome to the 1950s. Don't trip over that cord. Don't do it. Well, thanks for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. It's a rainy Sunday in Portland. I know it's $20 is pretty steep. You could buy right, a couple of eggs for that. We've started doing these Sunday shows to showcase my students, and I've been teaching here. I think it's the middle of the third year I've been teaching here. Over 100 students. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun, and I've got two of my students who, and they're fine comics, and they're going to perform for you tonight, and then I'm going to do my set after. And I guess I can tell you this before we start the show, and I feel very confident about this, that at least for the next 4 years, this is a better show than you're going to see at the Kennedy Center. So your $20 was spent wisely, okay? And we're going to get the show going. Kevin, give Kevin Sanderson Dowdy, he's in the house. Dowdy, give him a round of applause. Kevin's on the show. That's Kevin's band. Grace Ashita's on the show. Give Grace a round of applause. And we're going to get started right away, so buckle up and have a good time tonight. Please welcome Kevin Sanderson Dowdy, ladies and gentlemen. Bring him up. Yeah.
Thank you, and can we give another hand to Carl, our MC and headliner this evening? Over 4 decades in comedy professionally, fantastic. And how many people are here for Grace Ashita tonight? All right. If you are not clapping now, you will be clapping when she is done. She is hilarious. This is fantastic. One of Carl's first students, and I came in a class a little later on, so you've got Grace to look forward to, Carl at the end, but right now, you get to go through me. And yes, I am the straight white guy with the least amount of stand-up experience in the lineup this evening. That's right, I am your Trump-appointed comedian this evening. Not really, no. While I am a walking checklist of pre-existing conditions for alignment with patriarchy and now fascism, apparently, I do not subscribe to either of those, and I hope over the course of our time together that becomes more and more clear. So with that said, on with my set. Turned 52 a couple weeks ago, 52 years old. Not one of the big birthdays, but it did have me looking back on my life and just thinking about it and realizing, wow, I used to be an optimist. Now, I still am, and it sucks. Now, not just because of where we are now, but it has always sucked to be an optimist in my life because I'm the worst kind of optimist there is to be, a realistic one. It's by that I mean within the bounds of possibility, I keep my, my expectations. Not always the case, I'll admit it. When I was young, I thought by the 2020s we would have flying cars. Anyone else think of that? Thank you. In our defense, for those of you judging us, the movie Back to the Future 2 was very convincing when it first came out. And hey, predicted the Cubs winning the World Series? That did happen. But no flying cars, no flying cars. But technology has moved along at quite a clip, and I'll admit it, I have not kept up. Used to be able to do it, but no, now my iPhone gets an update and I can't handle it. Thank goodness I have a teenager at home in home tech support. So I just tell her, hey, kiddo, you want some dinner tonight? Fix my iPhone. I suppose that could be seen as a hostage situation, but no, it's mutual. She lets me access my photo and emails, and she gets a blanket and some food at night. It is Stockholm Syndrome, but it's mutual, and isn't that what all family systems are based on? Yeah, I am past my prime. But again, looking back, I remember when I peaked at technology proficiency. 1992, VCRs. You remember that flashing 12, 12, 12? I could program the clock. Yeah, that was my apex. I moved out of the house. The power went out at my parents' home, and that came back. The only way they could fix it was black electrical tape. Cover that up. But no, technology is too ubiquitous for us now, for us to do that. Way too much going on. But still, I do remain optimistic, but realistic. And I want to be real with you tonight. I've been trying to figure out how to make fun of what's going on right now, and no, I can't do it too much. But I do, again, try to stay realistic. So I'm keeping things, within the realm of possibility. Maybe the light will stay green when I come up to it. No. Maybe, maybe that cereal will be on sale this week. Yes, fantastic. Maybe in the most recent election we'll elect a president that won't lead us into a fascist state. No, okay, being an optimist and a realist sucks. But honesty with ourselves, I think, and honesty with each other is how we're going to get through this. And so, starting off with honesty about myself. And want to make sure we are all on the same page before I start with this. So I'm sure some of you have noticed, and if you haven't, I will point it out so we're all on the same page. Yes, I am wearing suspenders and a belt. Thank you for the support. I do need that. As long as this support. Yes, this immediately tells you two things about me. Number one, I have no fashion sense. Number two, my body and I are going through a rough patch. It's been happening for a while. I told you earlier I've turned 52. It was 2 years ago that it started. I turned 50. My body became an Apple product a week after the warranty runs out. Stuff is just failing, and my body can no longer hold up pants with just a belt. So I've got the suspenders, but the belt's tradition, so I'm sticking with both because that makes me feel safe. I could try to explain it away, I suppose, and not be dishonest about it. I could say, hey, this is just part of my comedy gear. I'm pushing the bounds of fashion and social acceptance, but no, not going to do that. I could say it's a part of my wardrobe, because I do wear this every day. It's part of my wardrobe at work. I am an elementary and middle school music teacher. At a Catholic school. I'm not Catholic, but I work there, and so I could try to explain this as just subliminal reassurance to the parents that with all this on, my pants are staying on around their children. But the truth is, I need this now, and it makes me feel better, it makes me feel safe, but yeah, so this started happening around age 50, but turning 50 was not all that bad. And for example, became really popular with my doctor. Yeah, we have a lot of tests we'd like to run with you now. And before you ask, yes, I have had my colonoscopy, and no, I'm not going to get into the details in this set. You're welcome. Other group I'm very popular with, AARP. 2 letters a week, like clockwork. I'm stringing them along. See how long this relationship lasts. Haven't signed up yet. Haven't committed. But I also got into stand-up after I turned 50. And again, Carl, fantastic teacher, fantastic mentor. Great students like Grace, again, fantastic comedians that you'll be seeing later. And yes, it was great, and in the spirit of honesty, there were many reasons why I did this. I did it just to get out of the house. It was after COVID. Okay, let's get back out there. To get a creative outlet that I can't always express with the kids. Stuff goes over their heads a lot. And I was looking to get laid. See, I've done some research, and yes, my wife is here, but I've done some research. And for heterosexuals, at least, comedy really has an impact on attraction. And if a man tells a joke and a woman laughs, the man finds the woman attractive. I already do, dear. Already do, but thank you for laughing. You're looking even better now. But it's different for women. If a man tells a joke and the people around the woman laugh, she finds him more attractive. Thank you for all your help this evening. I really appreciate it. I'm feeling really optimistic now, thank you. Yeah, so, yes, thank you for letting me be honest about myself. But I think we also be honest in our relationships with others. And that includes crossing some lines that might not be as comfortable. And this is the part where, part of that checklist of potential patriarchy. I am a Christian, so let's get into that a little bit. I'm a Christian, which means I'm supposed to spread the good news, so let's get it out of the way right now. My name's Kevin, I'm a Christian. Thank you. And because of that, I need to make sure that every single person here knows that Jesus Christ was an asshole. And to my fellow Christians out here, I know there are a few out here, I'm sorry, but we cannot claim that Jesus was the Son of God, come from heaven down to earth, fully divine and fully human, without him also being, at least some of the time, a pretty major asshole. It's because it's a fundamental character trait of both states of being. Let's take a look at divinity first. Imagine you're God, creator of the universe, and you've decided to flood the whole world, killing everyone and everything on it except for a guy on a boat with a zoo. And you're doing this because you're upset with what humanity was doing with the free will you gave them. That's not really constructively dealing with the situation you put into motion. That's just being an asshole. Humanity. Hi, everyone. I'll use myself as an example. I want to do everything I can to help protect and preserve the environment. And I am not a fan of child labor. But I really love my iPhone. I'm an asshole. Given that we've got this two-pronged approach of belief towards Christianity, no wonder so many Christians are assholes. Not just me. And, for example, has anyone here heard anyone use the term biblical marriage? Anyone who uses that term has never read the Bible. Because, sure, anyone who uses that term is just talking about one man, one woman, that's it. Sure, that's in there. You know what else is in there? Polygamy. One man, many women. If you can make 2 slaves of your slaves, force them to marry. If someone rapes a virgin, they get to marry. I don't want conservative Christians learning how to read, because I'm afraid that might become Project 2026. So the next time someone uses that phrase with you, please feel free to share some of what I just shared. Because I think it is really important for us to cross boundaries and be uncomfortable with each other a little bit as well. Thank you for allowing that. One story that a lot of Christians will know is the feeding of the 5,000. I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads, fantastic. For those of you not familiar with it, quick summary. Jesus was teaching all day and 5,000 people. In some versions, it was just 5,000 men. Didn't count the women and children, because, hey, patriarchy, woohoo! Some did include the women and children, so we do not have an accurate count. But either way, all day teaching, and Jesus, at the end of the day, the disciples, his immediate followers, are like, you got to send these people away. It's like, we don't have any food. It's like, I will provide. And a child comes up with a basket with, 2 fish and, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. If it's, I'm mixing up the fishes and the loaves. It's 2 and 5 of those 2 items. And says, I'll share. Jesus blesses it. It goes out and around. Let's take Jesus out of the equation here. Do you think that kid was the only one who said, hey, we're going on an all-day trip, let's bring a little food? Could it be possible that more than just that kid shared? Is it possible that, hey, maybe if we share what we have, if we have a little extra, share with others, could go around, help someone else? Yeah. So, for everyone, I guess the lesson here is share what you have. Unless it's gonorrhea. Don't share the gonorrhea. Syphilis too. Both of those are bad. Both of those are bad. Well, thank you for journeying with me through those 2 bits of honesty. And I do want to close, as a teacher, I understand that what people remember is the first thing they hear and the last thing they hear. So maybe you'll forget all this middle stuff. But I do want to close with a story. You're going to be hearing Grace and laughing. You're going to be hearing Carl and laughing. After that, we're heading back out into the world and everything that's going on there. So I want to leave you with a story about patriarchy and having someone that you can make that journey with. And I'm going to close by also saying that before I start the story, I don't always need to have the last word. So as an example, maybe listen to someone else at the end of it and let them have the last word. Now, this is, I said, a story about patriarchy, and it is going to be a heteronormative story because it's about my wife and myself, and sorry, that's just our truth. And So again, thank you for all your laughing. I'm feeling very optimistic about how things are going with my wife now. And so I said I turned 52 earlier this month. Later this year, we are celebrating 23 years of wedding, being married. 23 years. So you can imagine my wife's surprise last year when, for the first time ever, I sent her a dick pic. But it wasn't even a picture of my dick. At least I don't think so. I'm not sure. There was a lot going on at work that day at the elementary school where I work, which is where I took the picture. And I have a copy of it right here. And in the spirit of honesty, I do want to share it with you. I have blown it up so we will all be able to see. Lock the doors. I want everyone seeing this. So, this picture I took at school, and I want to share it with you. My first ever dick pic. I know there's more than one there. This box appeared on the teacher lounge table on the first day of Staff Appreciation Week at the Catholic school where I work. The parent who ordered donuts did not ask for dick donuts. This was a very deliberate decision by someone at the donut shop. Said, oh, it's going to a Catholic school? I got this. Now, I'm not Catholic, but most of my colleagues are, so I didn't know if I could really talk with them about this. I didn't know if the other teachers really knew what was going on here, but as soon as I saw this, I thought of my wife. I took this picture, my first dick pic, texted it to her, and I hope you all have someone in your life that can be as supportive and observant as my wife is in mine, in your lives. This was her response. Lest you forget you're working for a patriarchal institution, have fun eating dick. Hope those pastries were assigned male at birth. My wife, everyone, thank you all very much.
Kevin Sanderson Dowdy, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin is a pastry chef at part-time. One more for Kevin and his wife. My next classes start next April 8th, actually. So if you want to sign up, portlandcomedy.com. It's a great experience. It's 8 weeks of classes, and then you get to do 1 or 2 graduation shows. And it's $275 or a box of donuts I approve of. So either way you get in. portlandcomedy.com. We have I've had about 150 students in 3 years, and the whole range. We had a 19-year-old, Jethro, who didn't know who Oprah Winfrey was. That was. He finally got it. He says, "Oh, that's the woman who tells middle-aged women what to read." One of my favorite. We had a 51-year-old woman who she was just so honest, and that's all really where I ask people to start with their truth in comedy. She said her daughter came out and said to her mom that she was polyamorous, and she said to her daughter, "In my day, we called that a slut." So start with the truth, ladies and gentlemen. It could be lines like that, donuts that look like cocks. I don't care, but start with the truth. And portlandcomedy.com. Michael, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Are you doing well? A lot of my students in the front row, which frightens me because they have heard my shtick so many times before, and yet they have to laugh because, you know, this is Calvin Jennings. Look at Calvin right here. Mike Shriver, and my friend Kay, who just did a set, right? Kay, and one of our younger students, Kay, and you have the young spirit, Bill DiStefano from the great state of New Jersey, who actually worked for the mob, so that's some truth. And oh, Na Wen, ladies and gentlemen. Taking so many of my classes, it's just unbelievable. What are you doing now in your career, Na?
Still a realtor and
You're still a realtor. Well, that's a good advertisement for my class, ladies and gentlemen. Take 3 or 4 of my classes and you continue doing what you do. Na's a great realtor, right?
she is.
She is? Okay. Anybody need a realtor? For property in Canada? Are you licensed in Canada? Anywhere but fucking here? Is anyone... Are you licensed in Luxembourg? Let's go. You should be flipping those properties in the EU right now. And another of my students who is going to perform for you now, and we're actually doing a show together on, May 14th? I'll talk about it a little bit more. Grace does amazing work with older people, and she hosts a fundraiser for Alzheimer's research every year. I think this will be the 3rd year I'm headlining the show, and it's free. It's a free show. That's where I am in my career. Free shows. And senior centers, ladies and gentlemen. That's where I am right now. You know, Kevin wants to be honest, that's where I am. A free show in the home. So if it doesn't work out, I could just go to a room there. Sure. And I'm the teacher. Yeah, that should tell you something. But we'll tell you more about the show. Please welcome Grace Ashita, ladies and gentlemen. Grace Ashita.
Been heckled till you've been heckled at a senior center. I've had that happen. Believe me. Oh yeah.
I killed there.
Oh gosh.
No, literally.
Yeah, we're going to be honest tonight. We are. I mean, I'm going to go into losing my virginity talk. So hang on. I know. Well.
Grace, don't talk about the class.
Okay, well, I'm Grace. I'm a native Oregonian, born and raised. I was raised a white girl in Salem, Oregon, because everybody was raised white in the 60s and 70s in Salem, Oregon. And but actually, I'm 3rd generation Japanese, and I'm not really your typical Asian. I'm not good at math. I've never sung karaoke, although I can sing. I'm a little pudgy, and I'm a good driver. Just kind of throw all those stereotypes out, okay? But my mom, she was born here in the States too, but she was raised in Japan, so she was very Japanesey as I was growing up. And she was very much the Asian mom, except she didn't care what kind of grades I got, which is a little bit different. No, all she cared about was that I not bring shame and dishonor on the family and the family name and all Japanese people. She would tell me that, you're not a good girl. They're not gonna think of Gracie bad. They're gonna think of mama, daddy, bad parents. And they're gonna think all Japanese people, bad people. Thanks, Mom, no pressure. But she would, her big thing in high school was, you high school now, no do drugs, no get pregnant. No do drugs, no get pregnant. You get pregnant, oh mama, shame, mama have to move. Mama have to kill herself. Yeah, she's a little bit of a drama queen, but But yeah, I graduated a virgin, high school anyway. And then, but it was always kind of comical with her, like, this happened much later. This is maybe 10 years ago. My aunt and my mom, and they're sitting at the dining room table and they're chatting back and forth, and I can understand just enough Japanese to kind of get the gist of what they're talking about. Like, you ask her, you ask her, you ask her. I'm like, ladies, what do you want to ask me? My mom goes, we no understando. We no understando how despienzo, lesbians, they can't say their L's and B's, right? How despienzo, how are they gonna do sexo? How are they gonna do sexo, Mom? And I just looked at her and I thought, oh God. Okay, so this lady's not had the straight sex talk with me yet, and I'm 50. So I'm like, I'm not gonna, yeah. And so I looked at her and I said, you know what? You're 90 and you're 85, and you ladies have made it to this point in your lives without knowing that information, and I think you can spend the rest of your lives without that. I think you're gonna be just fine. Like I said, she had not had that straight sex talk with me. I couldn't picture myself sitting there telling these geriatric Asian ladies all about a strap-on. Yeah, so we skipped that, but anyway. But as Kevin was talking about, yeah, things in the world right now are kind of tough. But sometimes I'm pretty good. He's the realist. I'm a little bit of a stick my head in the sand and pretend that everything's okay. So a lot of times when I'm in traffic or I'm doing my work, I really kind of dwell on the things that are really more first world problems. First world problems like, oh, I don't know, I drove off and left my garage door wide open for 6, 8 hours all day. And I come home, I live in a safe neighborhood, that's the good thing. But I come home and the first thought I have is, oh my gosh, I am so ashamed and embarrassed. All my neighbors could see what a mess and a shit show my garage is. No, I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, all my possessions, do I have anything left? Have I been burglarized? No, I didn't think that because I'm fortunate in that just wasn't at the top of my mind. So that's like a first world problem, right? Not worrying about, gee, are all my worldly possessions gone? And then I thought, oh gosh, what are some other things that I worry about? Technology. Yeah, technology. You were talking about that. Well, my whole thing is I have to keep up, at the very least, I have to keep up just enough because I'm still working. So I do have to keep up with things. But I do kind of draw the line at places, like I have a new car. And again, first world problem, I have a new car, but it does have all the bells and whistles. But I am having a really hard time figuring out all of it. But I've decided I will just, it's in charge, I know that. I get in and I realize it's in charge because about 9 out of 10 times it tells me can't connect, meaning to the internet, right? But I push the button and I hope and I say push the button, take me to address, and then it will take me, my screen and the map and everything. But then sometimes it doesn't, it says can't connect, you're offline. Okay, and then it says, but you can still make calls and ask for directions. I was like, okay. So it's telling me that, okay, so I push the button, take me to blah, blah, blah. And then it says, you're offline, can't connect. And fuck you! I'm driving. And then it tells me, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You're offline. Thanks. So I even get rejected by my car that I paid for. Yeah, I know, I can't get fucked because I'm offline. So yeah, well, I'm single. I've been single all my life. Well, I was married for a few years, 4 or 5 years, I was, but it doesn't really count, I think, because the guy was gay. Yeah, I know, everybody goes, oh, yeah, well, and then everybody, the second question I always get when I tell people that is like, did you not know? Well, I think if I'd known, I probably wouldn't have walked down the aisle. Yeah, no, I didn't know. I'm a little bit clueless. This has happened a lot in my life. I miss the clues, so we're dating, and you would have thought, I knew him from junior high, high school, but we kind of met up again in our 30s. Yeah, I was a late bloomer. And we made up, and he's a jock. He played football, and and all that stuff, and he was still a jock and all that stuff. And so he was really excited that I was a big football fan. He's like, wow, I've never dated a woman that liked football with me. I'm like, great. And I said, well, who's your team? And he says, oh, the Minnesota Vikings. I go, oh, why do you like them? And I'm expecting him to say, oh, unstoppable offense, solid defense. He goes, well, I love their uniforms because purple's my favorite color. Yeah. No, I didn't catch that. No, folks, I missed that one. I'm thinking it's odd, but I don't think, oh, gay man, no. And this is 1994, 95, so. And then he gives me a tour in his apartment. Short tour, 1-bedroom apartment. We go in and he takes me, here's my kitchen, here's my bedroom. He has the cushiest, foofiest, shiniest peach satin comforter. Did I catch that drift? No. No. I missed that. We got married. Yeah, I had lots of clues before we went down the aisle, but I missed them. And even when I left him, to be honest, I didn't leave because he was gay, because I still didn't know it. You'd think sex once a year when you're first married, but that would be enough. I guess it didn't clue me in. Again, I was thinking it was something else, but we had pretty heavy-duty sex before we got married, and that's what I would call the diversionary fuck. Yes, diversionary, meaning, oh, look, let's do this. I think he was maybe even trying to convince himself. I'm not really sure. Convince himself or me, hey, we're straight, we're good, we're gonna. And then we get married and it's like, oh, no. It's been 10 months, what are you asking for? No, anyway. So I just thought about it and I thought, okay, there's lots of different kinds of fucks, right? There's the diversionary fuck because it could be a cheating partner. They do it just enough so that the other partner isn't suspicious that you're cheating, or we'll do it just enough so you won't think that I'm gay, that kind of thing. And then there's the after the diversionary fuck, well, then there's the, oh, sorry, my brain. See, I haven't had any yet. So. Just talking about it gets me all hot and bothered, and then I just can't talk. Anyway, the other kind of sex is I'm glad he's drunk enough. He doesn't notice that my legs aren't shaved, right? That's the oh good fuck. And then then I had another one. Oh well, that's all right. Couldn't have been that funny. I can't remember it, right? But then here's a new one that I had. And this was a couple years ago. I had just had cancer, but I'm good. I'm thankful. Everything was fixed and I'm fine. I was cancer free. And so this guy, And so this guy that I'd been dating off and on, he came over, congratulatory. Oh, I'm glad you're well, and da-da-da. And yeah, we start making out. And then I whisper in his ear, and I go, oh my God, is this a mercy fuck? And we started laughing for 10 minutes straight. Yeah, that's the kind of foreplay I have, is humor. Right, yeah. Let's laugh for 10 minutes and then on to whatever. Anyway. See, I've already forgotten what you go on to, because it's that long. And I kind of think that's probably, I don't know. I mean, it's not enough for me to get cancer again, to be fucked again, but I know, sorry. A little dark, isn't it a little dark? Yeah, okay. Anyway, I just got to thinking, I was like, why was I starting to think about these different types of fucks? It's really not where my brain usually goes, but it was because the other day, watching TV, there's a golf tournament, there's beautiful, the camera pans on this beautiful golf course. And then the voice says, welcome everyone to the Southern Hills Country Club, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And all of a sudden, ding, this bell goes off in my brain. I went, oh my God, that's where I lost my virginity. It's PGA worthy. I was thinking, wow, not that I would have known any of that at the time, but you have to understand, I was going to this very conservative college, and it was the 80s too, so it's men's dorms, women's dorms, and never the twain shall meet. We had to sign a pledge of honor, or an honor code, that we would, we would not smoke, drink, chew, or go out with boys who do. And definitely no premarital sex. Definitely none of that. But, I was lucky, and I had an El Camino with a canopy and carpet in the back. I mean, it doesn't get any more romantic than that, does it? Yeah. So that's a first fuck, right? Yeah. I know all of you, well, hopefully all of you have had a first fuck, at least. And somebody over here said that he couldn't remember his. Did you ever remember it? Did you remember it? Did it finally jog your memory?
I remember now.
You remember it. Do you want to share about it? He's speechless. Okay, I won't put you on. Anybody want to share that? No, I'm not gonna. But those of you that haven't had a first fuck, I hope you get to have one, because, not that you would remember it. Not that I even remember mine. I just remember where it was, because, it's a PGA caliber golf course, and everybody has sex. We didn't have it on the golf course. I know in our class, I brought this up, it was a premise, and the whole class, they just jumped in, oh my gosh, you've got to do that in one of your sets, you've got to talk about losing your virginity at the golf course. And I'm like, and of course they all had all their stuff, the woods and the driver and a hole in one. It's like, that's too easy. That's too easy. I like to give myself a little bit of a challenge, so anyway, that's what it is. But I really have tried to figure out, maybe I need to figure out if I no longer want to be single, what do I need to be doing? And a lot of my friends are telling me, well, you need to change your type. Because they look at the pictures of my old boyfriends and things are like, well, he was gay too, right? Because they're all on Facebook, and I'm like, well, no, this one, he has on a green velvet suit, Grace. He's gay. He show stalks, this old boyfriend of mine. That's what they do. They look fancy at the Westminster. He was one of those fans. Yes, he was wearing green velvet. I don't know. And so, my friend, her algorithm is all full of cowboys, so she'll send me these pictures of cowboys. See, this is my type. And then I look at mine, and it's like, well, it's all these gay men and chefs, because my ex was a chef, and I'm like, I guess I do have a type. And so I've just come to realize I probably simply am a gay man trapped in a straight woman's body. Thank you.
Here's Grace Ashita, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it going for Grace Ashita.
That's great. I was married to Grace at one time. Happiest 7 years of my life. They weren't peach. Those were Grace Achita, ladies and gentlemen. Well. I'm so pleased to be here tonight, and and my comics have heard this line before, but it's the truth. I really enjoy teaching stand-up here at Comedy Sports, because I'm at the reflective part of my life, and this is my 46th year of doing stand-up comedy. Thank you very much. Oh, those days. I'm nostalgic. I was on Alan Thicke Show, Thick of the Night, every week, and Alan passed away suddenly. I was on Joan Rivers every month, and Joan passed away suddenly. I kind of wish I'd been on The Apprentice. Well, that's my show, ladies and gentlemen. don't think it could be said any better than that. I don't know. I heard Trump was upset last week. One of his aides told him that the Gulf of America identifies as transatlantic, so he... Does anyone come from a family of, or half a family of Republicans? Any of you? Like, now it's a meeting, I think. Republicans, we have, some of you said yes. Yeah. Oh, well, no. ICE is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Republicans get a bonus, Democrats. So, 200 people were swept up yesterday in Portland. Did you see that? They were wearing Columbia sportswear T-shirts. I wrote that on the way in, and it tells. My grandmother, my mother's mother, we called her Grams. She was the ultimate Republican, German Lutheran. She refused to carry a Roosevelt dime until the day she died. It's true. I used to have to sit there at 6 years old with a Dixie cup, and she'd push the Roosevelt dimes into the cup and take it back to the bank. And the Liberty had stayed. That was her. And she hated Catholics. All I heard when I was 4 or 5, 6 years old, these 10-kid Catholic families were going to take over. We'd be back kissing the hem of John the 23rd. That's all I heard. Catholic. She picked up a rumor that the Catholic Church owned Pillsbury, so no Pillsbury product was allowed in her house. And it was constant. I mean, it was constant. She talked about Catholics, and she didn't like Jews. She didn't like blacks. She didn't like homosexuals. And I'm here to tell you, my oldest sister married a Jewish man. My next oldest sister married a Catholic. I'm gay, and my youngest sister married a black man, ladies and gentlemen. Grams has rolled over in her grave so many times she's rotated away to China, ladies and gentlemen. She didn't much care for Asians, so good place for her, I say. And it's okay. You got to have characters like this in your family to do comedy. At her funeral in 1981 in Pittsburgh, after everyone left the gravesite, I threw in a Kennedy half-dollar and a Roosevelt dime. She is buried with 60 cents of Democrats, whether she likes it or not. Constantly feuded with my dad because she did not like my father. She thought my mother married beneath her. Grams always had her nose in the air, and my father and Grams always were feuding. And the greatest moment for me was when Grams visited our house in New Jersey, and my older sister introduced her to her fiance, Tom Donahue, and she goes, "That's Irish, isn't it?" And my father says, "Irish Catholic." And my grandmother just grazed like a grazed bowling pin and fainted on the couch. My mother screams, "Get a pillow!" My father runs to the kitchen, comes back with a sack of Pillsbury flour. Says, "Put this behind her head." That's what I grew up with, ladies and gentlemen. My mother was not prejudiced generally, but a little more moderate than her mother. When I was in college, she told me I should be attracted to more masculine things, so I started dating men. And Gary and I just, in December, celebrated our 27th anniversary. Thank you. Now, Kevin, you have 22, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you, Kevin?
Back here.
And yeah, is your wife still with you after that set? Is she?
I'll find out later.
Yeah. Is she still here?
She is, yeah.
Oh, and what's her name? I'm sorry.
Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah, and you what? 22?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. How does that? What's the equivalent to gay years? Is there a? Is there? I don't know if it's double or half. I have no idea. Some of you know Gary. He's a little bit younger, more athletic. He climbed Mount St. Helens, and I was so inspired I made it halfway up Mount Tabor the next day. My Sherpa quit. Have you noticed you can't get a good Sherpa in Portland anymore? There's no Sherpas. And, you know, and the dinner conversations aren't as sparkling as when we were dating. You know, it's like last year we were eating, and he is there anything worse than hard butter? And I'm thinking, genocide? I don't know. Gary is very funny. He often makes very good remarks, and I said, you should take my comedy class. He goes, well, I've taken that class. We do have a conundrum right now, and life is actually, we're happier than we've ever been, and life is very, very good, except for what's out there. Our own personal conundrum, what's the rest of the fucking world? We're hunkered down and happy. But we have a conundrum, because last April we bought a car, and let me just put it this way. It's an odd time when I'm out of the closet with my relationship and in the closet about my Tesla. Now, you know, I have a bumper sticker says, this is a Buick Regal. I don't think it's doing it. We turned the self-driving on one time, went right to a bunker of Proud Boys, I swear to God. Just we went to the lowest IQ in Portland. We went Elon, I mean, you know, Elon Musk looking for corruption is like OJ looking for the real murderer. He's been, you know, I think he's got pronouns. I like to, you know, bring him along to the liberal lifestyle. He, him, Hitler. Trump is me, me, me. One of the things I do enjoy, though, is Bernie Sanders is great. And I had my little dust up with Bernie in 2016 with the vision, but he came back in 2020 and we were reunited. I love him now because he tells the truth. But I love him because he uses the word oligarchy. I could pull my seat up to cable and watch that all day. The oligarchy. Don't you fucking love it? It's like, just to hear that word coming out of his mouth. He says, Musk gave Trump $270 million and got all the goodies. This is oligarchy. I just want to go out to dinner with him. All of the pork chops, the mashed potatoes, no oligarchy. I don't want any oligarchy. No oligarchy. I love it, man. The oligarchy. And what in the world? I mean, you could not write a scenario where a president of the United States would go to the best friend we have in the entire world, politically, socially, morally, historically, the country of Canada, and punch it in the face. Who would do that? Right. I mean, I have a master's in political science. I love history. I was trying to think of any moment when Canada did not support this country. I came up with one about 3 years ago. A beaver with rabies crossed the border and bit Marjorie Taylor Greene. That was about it. Oligarchy. She has the oligarchy. It's just unbelievable. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he actually, you know, if you look up all his nonsense, he said at one point that some pesticides can make people gay. I remember when I was 10 and my parents took me to be crop dusted. These people, and they're in charge. It's so frightening. You know, and speaking of history, I think it's very important for people to be out and aware of gay people, Grace. For your dating profile. You know, there's a lot of people in history who were gay, did amazing things. John Maynard Keynes invented modern macroeconomics, and Alan Turing invented the modern computer. George Santos invented everything. And there are also people in history who were likely gay, but of course, we don't know and we'll never know. One of my big hunches is Marco Polo. You know, you think about it, it's, you know, the mid-13th century, Vandals have sacked Europe, Crusaders have sacked the Middle East. He's off looking for silks and spices, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, really, if you're a gay man in the year 1276, you just want a comfy caftan and a little nutmeg, really? Maybe some oligarchy. Oligarchy would be good. It really is amazing, and you know, I think about these. First of all, let me just say this: I have been thinking about this a lot. I think there's an idea out there that there should be gay reparations. Well, maybe it's my idea. I guess you haven't read about it, as I haven't written it yet, but. I think it'd be a good idea, personally, gay reparations. And I was thinking, but all I want is an apology, right? Just an apology the way gay people were treated in this country for centuries. Now, other countries have done this. UK has done it, Canada has done it, a lot of countries have done it. I just want an apology.
Good luck with that.
Our bad, our bad.
Maybe even Portland's not for that. I don't know. Jesus, you know, liberal up to a point. I only have less than $20, you know. I think an apology would be fine.
We're sorry.
Well, thank you. Oh, now. I want an apology, and, you know, I want the hot straight guy of my choice. I think you're still not on board with this. Most of you have nothing to worry about. Aaron, you're not okay. I'd like MAGA voters to go to re-education camps. That would be good. And a blender. I'd like a blender. I think that, you know, re-education camps, first of all, I'd just be happy if they went to education camps, right? I remember, first thing when I really took notice of Trump, because we all thought when he entered the primaries early 2016, it was all a joke. And Frank Luntz had a focus group, and they asked people, Jeb Bush, and people raised their hand for Trump. And he asked a woman in the front row, "Why are you for Donald Trump?" And she says, "Because he'll make America great again." And Frank Luntz said to her, "How do you know that?" And she says, "Because it says it on his hat." And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are. They ran an old interview Trump did on Howard Stern, and Howard Stern asked him if he ever had a gay experience, and Trump said, "I have never had a gay thought in my life." And I'm like, yes! I don't want him on our team. And then I realized he lies about everything. You don't know. I don't understand gay Republicans either, you know? They used to call them the log cabin Republicans, now they're just called LGBTQAnon. Thank God we live on the West Coast. Thank God. You know, California, Oregon, Washington. Thank God. And Washington voters were the best. 2012, on the same election day, I love them. These are two of my, Susan and Manny. Give them a round of applause. Susan Galvez and Susan and Manny Galvez. I'll tell you more about them later. Washington voters, 2012, on the same day they approved gay marriage and marijuana, legal marijuana. So they proved to the rest of the country that we were just reading Leviticus incorrectly. It said if a man lies with a man, he should be stoned. Thinking about those, being nostalgic, talking about politics. You remember the days we thought Dan Quayle was harmful? Bring him back. Jeez, he's just a little dumb, but I love when he went up to Gorbachev and said, "What's that thing on your head?" You remember that? Gorbachev said it's a birthmark, and Quayle said, "How long have you had it?" I mean, you can't write stuff that good, ladies and gentlemen. You really can't. And Bush would talk to us, like we were in elementary school. The hurricane is in the water. When the hurricane hits the land, there will be an emergency on the land. People say to me, when will the hurricane hit the land? When will it make the land fall? Well, I'm the decider. I decide when the hurricane hits the land. I did that in Dallas when he was president. Oh my God. Some Republican ran up to me and said, "You should listen to President Bush like he listens to the countries." I did. I tapped his phone without a court order. Oligarchy. It's oligarchy. Oligarchy. I wrote for Rich Little for 10 years back when he was funny, and I wrote his albums, his HBO show, his Vegas act, and as I did my own. And Rich was a good guy, but he told me a great story about Richard Nixon that I've never forgotten. And this is after Nixon resigned the presidency some years later, and Nixon always had a Christmas party at San Clemente at the Western White House, and Rich always was invited. There's like 100 people in the grand ballroom, and a lot of them are egging Rich Little to do his Nixon impression. He didn't want to do it, and so finally, he does his Nixon impression, and Nixon's sidling over and he goes, "Who is he doing?" Totally fucking believe it. Anybody beat my 27 years of marriage? How about you, Sandy? Susan and Manny?
33.
33. Oh, yeah. Yeah, good for you. Yeah. Anybody beat 33?
34.
Oh, now we're auctioning a hawk. Yeah, 34. Good for you. Yeah. And what are your names?
Joe and Bonnie.
Joe and Bonnie. Wow. That's till death. Joe and Bonnie, I love that. 34 good years. Give it up for them. Yeah. My parents were married 41 years and got a divorce. Well, they should have been married 41 minutes, so they just woke up one morning, check please, that's it, out of here. But what I love to tell the story because they each the next year married the person they should have married in the first place, right? And my mom married, they were in Florida, where else? And they moved to Florida, it was the law. And New Jersey, Florida, New York, Florida, they go down there. So my mom the next year met a Southern gentleman, Walt, and she had the 18 happiest years of her life. I think that, starting at 63. Yeah. And she wasn't on my ass anymore for a while, which was great. Walt was a Southern gentleman, had a great sense of humor, made my mother so happy. He did, it made my mother happy. And so when I was on TV a lot, then I'd call down. If Walt answered the phone, he would tell me one joke, the worst jokes in the world. and hand the phone to my mother. I'd call up, hey, Sport, hear about that duck went into the drugstore and ordered a condom, and the druggist said, you want me to put this on your bill? Here's your mother. Oh, the next week, word for word. Hey, Sport, hear about that nun taking a bath? She hears a knock out the door, gets it out of the tub naked, runs to the door, says, who is it? She hears a voice. It's the blind man. Says, oh, opens up the door, guy comes in, says, nice tits, where you want these blinds? Here's your mother. You're great, man. This is good. Remember one he called, hey, Sport, name the 3 most famous people shot in the back of the head. Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, and the guy sitting in front of Pee Wee Herman in the theater. Here's your mother. So I visited Florida. I spent like 2.5 days with my mother and Walt, 2.5 days. My father lived a mile away, all the drama. My father's name was Harold. He married a woman named Maud, I swear to God. Harold and Maud. And my mother, you know, she would just not let it go. She'd find out how old Maud is. You know, she wanted me to spy. So she could put her anger into practice, I suppose. So one time I was at my mother and Walt's, and then one at my Harold and Maud's. And on the way to the airport, I had to report to my mother on Maud's age. And I guess she lowballed her age, because my mother went fucking nuts. She is not! You know, and Walt goes, son, never tell your mother her rival is younger than her! We were sitting in the den watching Walt and my mother was in the kitchen, and there was it was San Francisco Chinese New Year parade, and there was a float which was a giant penis, and Walt goes, dear, get in here, come on, I want you to see the giant penis. And my mother goes, oh, you know, and runs out, and Walt looks at me and goes, son, I had to train your mother. Whatever your father taught her wasn't much. Don't want to hear it, thank you very much. Here's your mother. So Walt passed in 2002, and then, you know, and I felt bad for my mom because she had 18 years, and then I was to visit Florida, and all our feuding started up again about politics. I would visit her, and this is, you know, we fought from when I was in middle school till the day she died. We loved each other, but, you know, I would go down there. She accidentally bleached my Obama t-shirt, so I set fire to her Glenn Beck Christmas sweater. That's what I did. She would say things like, Hillary let herself go. Yeah, Mom, thanks. And then I brought Gary down, and that was a challenge. You know, first of all, we walk in, she's got Fox News in every room, on Fox Radio on, Fox TV on. You know, we're sitting at dinner, and she looks at Gary and me, and she goes, now, which one of you is gay? And I'm like, it's going to be a lot harder than I thought. When she followed up with, well, we didn't have homosexuals in the 1950s. I said, well, somebody put the fins in those Cadillacs. Somebody did those beehive hairdos, Mom. Somebody married Grace. I'm here to tell you. We have a lesbian friend, Jenny, and she also has a right-wing mother in Florida. And she came out to her mother, and her mother goes, what's next, Jenny? Heroin? Lesbianism, the gateway drug, sure, okay. So I'm really trying to, I really try as I get older, and especially now with all the shit that's going on, to do things that are healthy and affirming. And Gary's trying to get me into Buddhism, but I'll save that for the next life. I don't know. It doesn't feel right in this life. And I caregave for 5 years after radio, and that was really, I enjoyed it. I always liked to work with older people. When I was in college, one summer I worked as an orderly in a nursing home, which was a lot of fun. Got a lot of material out of it. We had this one guy, Mr. Daly, a very funny guy. You know, I change his catheter bag every day. Same joke every day. It's not mine, is it urine? Good for you. But and I carried Patty. I had for 5 years. She was she was a lot. She was very funny. Over at she lived over at Providence House, 60th and Burnside. And second week I was there, she says, "Oh, I told all the women I have a male caregiver." I said, "Oh, that's nice, Patty." She said they wanted to know if you were handsome. I said, "Well, what did you say?" She goes. Yeah, her pills got mixed up that night. I don't know. Trying to eat better. Not a lot of good restaurants where we were at Irvington Lloyd Center, and it's like, because of the mall, there's a lot of fast food there. And honest to God, on Weidler, this is true, there was like Noodles and Company. They lasted 3 months. You know, went in Noodle House, went in after that, and then nothing but noodles. All went out of business. I think there's a problem. Noodles. My theory is noodles remind guys of impotence. I mean, really, a bunch of dudes come up from the Blazer game and everything. They're not gonna. Let's go to oodles with noodles. You know, oodles with noodles. I don't think it's happening. I'm trying to. What are you guys doing? Let me ask you this: what are you doing during this horrible age of Trump to affirm, to feel good, and to act well? I mean, to be healthy. Anybody?
Making love.
Making love?
Coming here.
Coming here? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Video games.
Video games. Oh, video games. Okay. Do they have any that are like, you know, what you want to do with Musk and Trump? Do they have those? Really?
It's called Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight. Wow. Greenland just falls on them. It's like fucking great. I love that. Video games. Anything else?
Biking.
What is it?
Cycling.
Cycling.
Yeah.
Going to the Tesla protest.
Yes.
Sorry, Carl.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay.
I was there. Just don't
I'm just really glad I got a garage for now while we figure it out.
Eating tamales.
What, tamales?
Eating tamales. Yeah.
Oh, eating tamales. Okay, thank you. I think that's enough suggestions from the audience. I know I feel better about the future after hearing this. Honest to God. Oh my God. Well, yeah. Now Manny and Susie have been married 33 years. Does Manny go to the grocery store for you, Susan?
yeah.
Oh, he does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he
He
do
has
well?
his jalapenos.
He what?
He always gets his jalapenos.
Jalapenos.
Yeah,
Yeah. Gary and I cannot go together. We have a completely different style. He will study everything and compare prices. I just grab, and I don't want to be there. So, for the sake of getting to the 28th year of our marriage, we shop separately. That's a healthy thing to do in some relationships. Now, I remember when we first moved up here, there was a Safeway a couple blocks from us, and Gary made me a list. I go out to Safeway. On the list is 2001. I can't believe it's not butter. Have you heard of that? So here I don't like being there. I don't like having a list. So it takes me about 10 minutes to find the butter out, which I do. And I finally find, I can't believe it's not butter, which I can't believe I found it, actually, to be honest with you. So here's the problem. I'm reaching for, I can't believe it's not butter. I swear to you, right next to it, there's a product called, Could It Be Butter? This is pressure I don't need, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, who would name a product, could it be butter? Had to be a lawyer, okay? Think about it. Because the people who make or sell could it be butter have immunity from all liability. Say you buy could it be butter, take it home, say it's not butter. Say it turns out to be a tub of pork fat. What are they going to tell you? We didn't tell you it was butter. The point is you cannot start naming products with a question. Pretty soon there's no fancy feast in the cat food aisle, just a tin. Could it be monkey meat? Download a Michael Bolton track. Could it be shit? I don't know. I can't believe it's not music. The point is, it's just the advertising that gets us in. It's the marketing, and every 3 minutes on TV they're in your face about antidepressants. Do you need Prozac? Take this simple test. Do you ever tear up at funerals? At least once in the past 5 years, have you not slept well? When the neighbor kid killed your dog with lawn darts, were you slightly annoyed? You're doing comedy, no one wants a gay apology. You need Prozac. My favorite marketing thing, this is great some years ago, twice on the ballot in North Dakota, they had a referendum, didn't pass, to change the name of the state from North Dakota to? Dakota. Thank you, smart crowd. Their theory was, the proponents, that the word north connotes cold and it will curb tourism. I have performed in Minot in mid-January, 85 below wind chill. These are some marketing genius. Why don't they just name the state? I can't believe it's not Florida. How about that? How about that? I played all 50 states, 8,000 shows, and I found something nice in all states. I like to play Montana, actually, because you can drive for days in Montana, not see anybody. I got stopped by a cop in Montana. I said, what's wrong? I said, nothing, just wanted someone to talk to. Wisconsin, proudest people live in Wisconsin. Are you from there? Yeah, what part of Wisconsin? Milwaukee. Great town. Lake Superior. Okay, now we're going from the states to the lakes. Good for you. Milwaukee is actually on Lake Michigan, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, but you just like the bigger lake. Oh, you also lived on Lake Superior. Are there two different people here? It's the Minnesota Twins have moved to Wisconsin. Well, I played Duluth, which is on, very nice people. Thank you. If we're challenged by geography, you can advise Trump. Yeah, they're very proud of Wisconsin. 3 minutes, you're in there. These are my kids, Gouda and Velveeta. They're individually wrapped. Okay, good. South, a little more challenging. I was in Deep South. I was in Pamplona, Alabama, for the running of the Rednecks, and I was gored by their sharp intellect, I have to tell you. Arkansas, boy, that's a get out of there quick. You'll see shit in Arkansas you won't see anywhere else. I'll tell you, I saw a 12-year-old girl smoking right in front of her children. It was such a cheap joke, but true joke. So I grew up on the East Coast. My friend Bill DeStefano took a couple of my classes. Grew up in New Jersey. Yeah, what's your line about New Jersey, where the Sopranos is a documentary? Now I'm doing my students' material, ladies and gentlemen. We're inseparable. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, and Philadelphia is North Jersey is New York, South Jersey is Philly, and the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I'm very happy about that. And again, the crowd's with me. Gay apology, Eagles winning the Super Bowl, not getting any love here. When I was a kid, the Phillies were just the worst. Lost 23 games in a row. Can you imagine? We'll be there opening day with signs. Wait till next year. Okay. But I did write a book about the greatest collapse in Major League history, which was 1964. I was 11 years old, and it really was the greatest summer of my life up to that point. As my parents argued all the time, but for that summer of 1964, when the Phillies were unexpectedly leading the National League the whole year with perfect game on Father's Day by Jim Bunning, Johnny Callison won the All-Star game with a 3-run homer in the bottom of the ninth. Everything was clicking, and sports had the ability to bring our family together, our community, the whole area. It was just surreal. It was the greatest summer of my life until the slide at the end, and that's when I first used humor to get the family through, or at least try to. And the book has all of the characters in my family, Grahams, and my great aunt. The book is Slide. The subtitle is The Baseball Tragicomedy That Defined Me, My Family, and the City of Philadelphia, and How It All Could Have Been Avoided Had Someone Just Listened to My Lesbian Great Aunt. Aunt Nell is a huge character in the book, and I want to mention Susan here. Susan has developed your station in Vancouver, which is the call letters are?
KXRW.
KXRW.
.fm.
What's your FM?
KXRW.fm.
.fm.
You can look up and
Bringing the message to the people of Vancouver. This woman did it basically herself in Vancouver, Susan Gallaby, who sold my spots on X-Ray Radio. And your station is sponsoring Vancouver, or the Northwest Book Fair, right?
Yes.
That's why I'm bringing this up.
And you're going to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can sell books, basically, is what I'm doing. I'm not going to be as rich as Elon Musk, but I'm going to sell a few fucking books, all
But
right?
if everybody goes
And
to
what is it, on what day, July 14th?
Yeah, if everybody goes to Northwest Book Fair.
Yeah, they're going to remember, July 14th. July 19th, wow, I'm there 5 days early. Okay, the KXRY Northwest Book Fair, and you got, how many people signed up to sell books?
So it's their artillery barracks off of Officer.
The artillery barracks, we may be hunkered down there by now.
It's huge. And
It's huge.
All the authors and
Yeah.
crafters are sold out, and
Yeah.
it's only March, and it's July 19th.
Wow, that's
It's
good.
gonna be a big deal.
It will. Will you all come?
Yes.
Not only that, I want an apology, a gay apology.
We're sorry you're gay.
Sorry, I'm gay. Well taught. You had a good teacher, man. So, I bought a few copies of the book tonight. It's $20. The price of 1.5 eggs, if you want. If you want one, I take Venmo, I take cash, and I take apologies. In fact, I think you should pay $20 of the book because of what happened to gay people. I mean, I'll take the money for all the gays. I will. And if you're gay, it's still $20. So buy one for whoever you're dating. Still $20, straight or gay. And I know the way that coin's going to flip. I do love living in Portland before I go. Portland's great. You guys love Portland or just not answering questions? All right, we do love it up here, and it's nice to live in a bubble. I don't know if we have diversity in Portland. Our diversity, I don't know. I remember when Gary and I first moved here, we went to a Beavers game, back when the Beavers were playing. And they brought in a group of Native Americans to sing the national anthem in their native language, and they got the words mixed up and the game was rained out. But Portland, you know. Our dry cleaner, Mrs. Lee, is great. She's very funny. I wish she would take my class. She doesn't speak English, but it's perfect for my class. She gets things. She understands and speaks a little English. She's great. She's from Korea, South, I think. Every time I go there, I'm allowed to leave. So I think it's South Korea. One time I brought jeans in years ago. They had a red stain right here, and you're supposed to point those out. And she goes, "Is it the lipstick?" Sure is. Yeah. So my mother always say to me, "Oh, it's so easy to be a liberal in Portland." She used to hammer me with that. "Oh, you need to get out the rest of the country." Like, I didn't play all 50 freaking states, Mom, but it's easy being a liberal. And I'm telling you, it's not easy being a liberal in Portland. Some of you should know this, and my story to illustrate this before I go is many of you may have listened to me, some of you may have listened to me on the 6 years I was on KPOJ, Air America. It was good. We had a great fun show. It was a lot of work, up at 4, in the studio at 5, on air at 6, 3 hours, and you really had to prepare, and it was fun. It was our program director, Mike Dirks, interesting, entertaining, and relevant. We had a great time. We interviewed people. We did not get personal. We really dug deep into issues. Other conservative voices were allowed on from time to time, and oligarchy. And after the first 6 years I was on, they flipped the format from progressive talk to syndicated sports, and they let us know it was like 3 days after Obama won his second term. So we were all joyous and buoyant, and they came in and said, "You're gone." And it was just, you remember?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I was a basket case because, comedy's great, and I love comedy, but that was my dream job. Marrying comedy with history and political science, I felt like I was doing something. So I'm driving around. I didn't want to go home. I didn't know what to do, what to tell Gary. I'm driving home, and I'm thinking, this is the greatest moment, a job I've had, and I've lost it. What to do, and I drive home, and I drive into our garage, and leave the car running, and I brought the garage door down, and I thought, I'm just going to end it. And after about 15 minutes, I realized I have an electric car. Sometimes it's hard being a liberal in Portland. I'll tell you tonight, it's been really fun being a comic in Portland. How about a hand for Kevin Sanderson Dowdy? Give a Kevin a round of applause. Grace Rashida, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to join the classes, it's portlandcomedy.com. I'm selling books, or we'll take an apology. Good night.